Hi, Kris. Reed Wilkins from 630 Ched. First day, you're jumping in on the ice. How do you boil down the message for the players tonight? What do you try to get across?
Trying to make it as simple as possible. Obviously, there's got to be changes because of the record, and obviously there's a change of the head coach being the biggest change. But just changing the person up here talking at the podium or in the dressing room or rolling the lines, that's not going to make the difference. But I think it's really important that players feel themselves, feel confident, and put the start of the season behind them. And we've talked about some minor changes to our systems, and we're going to move on from there. And as the season progresses, there'll be more and more changes, but we're not reinventing the wheel. We're not doing anything very drastic. We just got to get better at executing details, and things will look after themselves.
I know you mentioned that yesterday as well, a little bit about frustration, and I think you mentioned pressure. I assume you've seen at least some games or some video of the games. Like, did you sense that even just watching on a screen that there's something just not clicking with the guys?
Oh, absolutely. There's numerous games. I know, a couple of weeks ago I was watching the Rangers, obviously, because I was affiliated with them, and that game was clear, but especially the Vancouver game, where in the first period, I believe the shots were heavily lopsided, 18-4, and after the second, or going into the second period, you're trailing. But there was domination, and then there's just being over-aggressive, trying to score that goal. And then what happens is you're being over-aggressive. Forwards are anticipating the defenseman keeping a puck in. Defenseman's chasing a puck that they weren't quite going to get, maybe 50-50, and then it ends up getting chipped out, and you're giving up an odd-man rush. And now you're giving up a goal. So the passion is there. The work ethic is there. But I think there's the frustration of, I got to make it happen this shift. And what happens is mistakes are piling up that way.
Kris, we didn't really have time to get into this yesterday, but tonight will be your first game as a full-time NHL head coach. I know you had some games in New York during the COVID year, but you were more there just to fill in. Can you kind of talk about take a moment what this means for you and how exciting it is to be now an NHL head coach?
Yeah, it is quite different. When I was there as interim head coach with New York, it was fun. It was there was no pressure on me. I was there running the bench, and obviously being in the NHL was exciting. And now it's a little bit different. Obviously, when you are the head coach here and it's your position, and your decisions are being questioned and evaluated, obviously there's a lot more pressure. But that being said, I'm just as excited, or even not even more, that it's my call, it's my decisions, and eventually it's going to be my team. It's going to take some time to implement all my systems and all my expectations to the players, but it's a process that I'm really excited to get going.
We saw it today, Connor and Leon, they've been split up a lot, but they played a lot together lately. Do you feel, when having watched and what you've seen apart, is your team better when they're going to center their top two lines, can give you a potential mismatch with both?
Well, I think so. It's a difficult situation. You got two players that have to be on the ice or play a lot, and when they are separated, you're looking at 19 to 23 minutes with McDavid and 19 to 23 minutes with Draisaitl. Well, then you don't have many minutes for the third and fourth line. And it's so important to get your third and fourth line contributing and have an identity. But when the top two lines are playing so much, it takes away from their game, and it creates problems. But, to solve that problem is put Draisaitl and McDavid on the same line, and then there's not that issue. And it's so much easier to roll those lines and get everyone playing. It's going to be a challenge, but I do think we're better off having those two on separate lines. And there's going to be times where they definitely will. Every game they're going to have shifts that they are together, especially like after penalty kills, after breaks, last shift in the periods, and stuff like that. They will be playing together.
Is there a chance of less is more? We see some other teams who have two top centers that, maybe they're both around 20 instead of 23. Do you think there's a situation where that could come out and might benefit your team?
Well, absolutely. I would love to win hockey games with them playing 19 games, especially when you're playing a back-to-back. You play Friday night and then again Saturday or whatever it is, where they only play 19 on Friday. Well, then they're going to be much better for the next night. I'd be ridiculous to say that they're not going to hit 23 minutes in games, because there's going to be times where there's lots of power plays. We're chasing a goal. They're playing really well. I don't know. But I would like to keep them down a little bit, but I know also when you're on the bench and you've got two players like that, it's pretty hard to hold them back. It's like, let's go.
What's your philosophy on using star players as penalty killers as well?
Well, it's absolutely, if they can do it, then do it. You want to put your players in the best situation. Special teams are so important. Whether it's obviously power play, your best players are usually typically always on the power play. And the penalty kill, it's always split on having your role players on it or your star players. And if all your star players are on the penalty kill, it takes away your identity and what's the role of these other players. But when you have so many star players not penalty killing, well, then who goes out after that penalty kill? Now you might have some star players sitting there for quite a long period of time. And you think about a situation where you have a kill, let's just say Connor McDavid's not on the penalty kill. You have a kill, and so there's 2 minutes. But right at the end of that kill, you have another penalty kill. All right, there's probably a timeout in there too, and then you got another kill, and now he gets out there. 7, 8 minutes might go by without him hitting the ice. Well, do I want my star player going 7, 8 minutes without being on the ice? Well, no. He's got to feel it. He's got to be ready to play. You can't be just sitting cold and then expect him to go out there and be the best player. They're difficult decisions, but we'll figure these out. And do I have all the answers right now, tonight, going into the game tonight? No, but hopefully I'll get a better feel of my players, and I might also be going with role players that I think can kill, and I might be disappointed. There might be somebody that I'm using as a penalty killer or as the third unit, and I might find out, wow, he's really good. Now he's on our top unit. So it's a learning process for me too.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. I mean, there's a body of work that you can dive into if you want to, of who's been doing what so far and what, you can get a lot of information from that, but I imagine part of it is you want players to have a clean slate too. So how much does your information gathering start tonight versus a bit of a deep dive onto what's gone on around here?
There's, I've got a impression on all the players. The coaches that I'm working with, they've got a idea of what the player's identity and how good they are. Management, they do. I think we've done had a lot of conversations, and ultimately, I might see a player somehow, and talking to Ken, he might see a player in a different situation, and I'm probably not right, he's probably not right, and it's usually we're somewhere in the middle, and we kind of work off that. But we can't give everyone clean slates where he's terrible on the penalty kill, but hey, I'm coming in new, let's give you a try. I don't know. I have an idea of going in tonight who's going to be good at what, and we'll see how that works.
Kris, we spoke yesterday a bit about some of the tactical side of the game. I asked Connor Brown about that today, and he said, I can't even remember the systems Kris ran in Erie, but he spoke about how he, quote unquote, how you made, the players feel, and I guess that's part of it. There's a broadcaster back there that's got a line. It's not what the players don't care what you know. They want to know that you care. Just a thought on, has that been part of your coaching evolution, just the communication abilities and, making sure that you have that kind of dialogue with your players?
Yeah, I think the toughest part of being a coach is holding guys accountable. You can have your expectations, and coaches, everybody can teach something, and nobody's got a better system, and it's ultimately holding the players, getting them to do what you're expecting them to do. And I've always felt that trying to empower my players to want to make the right play. Feel it's really important to make that defensive play, break a play up, finish a check, doing things right, and doing it because it's helping the team and them executing it well makes them feel good. And I've always tried, and it's so easy to do it, and it's the parents in here, it's so easy to get upset with your kid for spilling something or doing something that they weren't supposed to, but you know, if they don't know, you can't get upset at them. So it's, you want to empower them, give them the information, what needs to be done. And hopefully they're doing it because they want to do it and not doing it because they fear of messing up. Okay, if they, like if you have a bunch of players worried about, oh, if I turn over the puck, I'm not going to play for the rest of the period. Well, you're going to find it's a pretty boring hockey game, and you're not going to be creating much offense because they're just going to be throwing the puck out, and you're going to end up defending, and more mistakes are going to lead that way. So it's a fine balance on, you know, what's a mistake from just your execution was off, but your intent was right, or is it just the player who it didn't matter to them, it wasn't that important, and they didn't care, and they were just doing whatever. Well, then that's easy for a coach to pull back their ice time. So I don't know. It's, there's not a, this is the way we're going to do it.
Who are the people that put you here today? Who are the coaches, the players, the people in your life that have you standing up here today?
That's tough. First, it's my wife. Sorry. Just was a little emotional leaving my family to get here and being here. But I'll move on. Rob Dahm at the U of A, obviously, had a big influence on me. Coaching, my time in Philadelphia, the hack was huge, but also starting coaching in the Western League when I was in Prince Albert. Peter Anholtz and Mark Hollick when I went to Kootenay. I was an assistant coach, knew nothing, very little. I had a really strong work ethic, would spend hours in there, and I'd have ideas of what I needed to do. And I don't think once they ever said, no, let's not do that. They're like, yeah, that's a good idea. Let's go do it. You tell the players. And if I didn't have the support and belief in those two guys, yeah, it would have been different. So I appreciate that.